having counseled men from all over, particularly black men, I do understand that there is difficulty around creating intimacy with other men, and we're not necessarily sure how to do that. I've spoken before about the lack of depth in our friendships, uh, and one of the reasons that that exists is due to a lack of understanding about close relationships. Many of us only understand close relationships in the in context of a romantic sense. So we have maybe some openness to depth of communication and depth of relationship in a romantic sense with women, but we don't really understand that with men. So what's presented in frat culture and in other contexts as a brotherhood may not actually be brotherhood. Uh, I saw it explained that part of creating brotherhood within frats is going through these rituals together because we went through this very hard time together to cross that then bonds us forever as brothers. And to me, that explanation is complete BS. And it's a misunderstanding of relational depth that men need to work through a bit more. We don't have to go through hell together to build a close relationship. In fact, us going through hell together does not necessarily bond us together if we don't have depth of communication. And being honest with you, you probably know, and I know this, that there are a lot of people who have crossed who say they have brothers based off of both being in the same frat, but relationally, there's no depth there. Emotionally, there's no depth there. And maybe there's not even any communication after a certain point. So it's brother, but it's not really brother. It's brother in the sense that we were a part of the same org, just like both of us used to work for Apple. We're Apple brothers. So that's not to say that nobody has those in depth relationships. That's just to say that going through some hellish ritual together does not necessarily bond you together. And we see that in this instance because it wasn't very brotherly to even be doing this ritual for one that led to Caleb dying. And at least they took him to a hospital. I don't know who, was a part, who dropped off, and then someone lied. So now you have a dead person and people lying about how he died. That's not very brotherly. Uh, so I wanted to present an alternative for men in terms of what it looks like to create relational depth. It's not necessarily just going through difficult experiences together. Because again, strangers can go through difficult experiences together. A lot of people on Titanic didn't know each other, but they went through hell together. And let's just say they survived. While that does create some history that they went through together, many of them would have just went on with their lives with the people that they know and not strangers from a boat who just happened to be in the same location as me. So it's the same thing with frats. Just because you were in the same frat as me on the same campus as me during this 4 years of college doesn't necessarily make you my brother. And me understanding that a lot of times even men who have known each other outside of a frat for 10, 20, 30, 40 years of life, they still don't feel comfortable talking about emotional issues. They still don't feel comfortable talking about areas where they struggle. A lot of the conversation, even for real brothers, even for fathers and sons, just consists of talking about football and sports or what women you like. So biologically related men have a hard time getting to a deep level of communication and relational intimacy. And relational intimacy does not have to be sexual. So men that are blood related struggle with that. And I would venture to say that the frat brothers do too, regardless of crossing together. The communication pyramid will be helpful here. This is uh, explained in my first book, Whole Brother Debunking the Myths That Break the Black Family. And I probably can't reach it, but it's back there. But uh, I probably said this before, but the communication pyramid exposes depth of communication. 5 levels. So level 5 at the top, you have cliches. Level 4, then you have facts. Level 3, you have opinions. Level 2, you have feelings. And level 1, you have full transparency. Typically, in male to male relationships, we hang out at the top at levels 5 and 4, just sharing cliches and facts. I always say cliches are things like, "How you feeling today, man? I'm good, chilling, chilling, ain't nothing." Or if you go to church, "How are you today? Blessed and highly favored." You're just repeating these cliches that don't really mean much, right? And then level 4, facts. Uh, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Just repeating information, talking about facts. And we may get down to level 3 where you share your opinions about those facts. But when you get down to emotions and full transparency, that doesn't typically happen in a lot of male relationships. And going through hazing together does not automatically give you emotional, relational, or communicational depth. So there are frat brothers who cross together, but their conversations are still up here at 5 and 4. Not really talking about much. So it's not really brotherhood, is it?
We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that. Watch me going